Okay, time to take a look at the Ticon BBW number 16 Furick welding cup. And there it is. Now you can see that this is the one that does not have the shelf or the cover that goes on the outside. Now if you're into banging your cups around, then you might want to get that shell. The nice thing about it is if you decide to get that one, you can actually remove that shell. So if you do anything to this cup, you'll still have the shell. You can buy the cheaper one and you can put that ring on top of it. So it is interchangeable, which is great. You can see we've got a very nice mesh in there. And if we look on the other side, we can actually see that there is a mesh on top of the mesh. The really cool thing about this one is it has an O-ring that completely seals the outside of that mesh. So you don't have to worry about any gas that's coming through there that is escaping around the outside. Absolutely all of the gas is getting distributed. Now we can see that there is that inner cup that is inside the cup. It is slightly dropping down the overall size before it gets out. But I think there is going to be some expanding that goes on between this cup and the outer cup. It does come with an extra O-ring and with an extra screen. So if you ever get that thing too dirty, you can replace it. Now another thing that makes it stand out is actually threaded on the back side. So whereas most of them, they just have an O-ring that seals between the thread and the cup, this one will thread on. Now what I'm curious about with that is whether or not that is compatible with my kit or if I have to get the proprietary kit. It looks like this one is just going to thread all the way in, so that is not going to make a good seal. I do have to get their adapter. And it came with some instructions. It says to use 30 to 40 cubic feet per hour of argon. So that is very high. That is one of the things that makes this so darn useful, is the fact that you can put that kind of an output through it and you don't have to worry about it messing around with your puddle. So you can use a very high flow, so it's very easy to clean those welds, so it's very easy to make your welds look good even if you're not actually that good. But what it's actually designed for is for titanium. Now the reason I didn't get the cover is because I want to be able to see through it. And of course most of it is still covered up with that insert, but the fact that I can see through a little bit is going to help. Now this is a 16, so that means it is 16/16 of an inch. So that's 1 inch, which means that you can have a 1 inch stick out, so you're going to be able to see a lot with this cup anyway. But having all that flow is going to do a lot to help to protect your weld as you're welding and even the welds before it. So it should be no problem getting a nice shiny weld with this. It also instructs 175 DC max amps with 332nd tungsten, and do not over tighten, which makes sense. You got to use this because this is going to actually make that seal on the back. So we'll press up against that O-ring and it will make that seal. Without that, you can see those threads just go all the way in, so this will literally press into the rear of that diffuser. So that's no good. Like I said, you could put that O-ring on there and make the same thing happen, but it's never going to be as good of a seal as this one. So we are still gray. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a secret weapon, which is the BBW cup, and I'm going to see how this goes. We are still gray, but it is looking a heck of a lot better. It's amazing how much of a difference one little cup can make. So I put the welder away for the day, but then I came back and this is what I'm getting right now. So what I'm doing is I'm just welding on one side and then spinning it around doing the other side just so I can keep it kind of relatively cool. But I'm varying between 70 and 80 amps on this 1/8 inch plate. And so you can kind of see the 70s over there, 80s over there, a little bit more penetration.